Hello and welcome to another out of spec guide video. This is the first in a new series where we want to help you understand how to drive, start, and charge electric cars. Very basic overview. Let's say you happen to rent one or you're borrowing a friend's car and you just want to know how to work the damn thing. That's what we're here to help you with. So we'll break this video up into chapters, talk about how to actually unlock and lock the car, how to put it in drive, why it drives a little bit different than maybe a combustion car that you're used to, and then of course we'll tell you how to charge it here at the end very briefly. So if you want more information on electric cars in the basic sense, subscribe to Out of Spec Guide. In this video, it's all about how to charge, start, and drive the Volkswagen ID.4. So let's say you just got handed the keys to a Volkswagen ID.4 randomly and you want to know what the heck to even do. So this is the key to the car. Very simple. Lock, trunk, and unlock. This is your alarm for US spec cars. If you're in Europe, most don't have this. So it is a proximity key, which means the vehicle should unlock as you get closer. But as a backup, you can always just press unlock on the key. You'll see the little side markers flash here. And then to open the door handle, you just put your hand in here and you actually squeeze. You'll notice the handle doesn't pop out. That's totally normal. By the way, little fun trick, if you happen to walk away from the car and you just want to lock it, see this little indentation right here on this door? I can just touch that and you'll see the lights flashed. The vehicle is locked. To unlock with the key nearby, you can just squeeze on the door handle and open it up. One really important thing is you want to know how much battery's in this thing. You want to know how high you're charged. And instantly, as soon as you unlock the vehicle and open the door, if you look on the display panel right there, you'll see we're at 68% state of charge and 169 miles of projected range remaining. It's always really important to know that that range number is based off the previous driving of the car. So if you just drove up a huge hill, for example, here in the mountains of Colorado, that number is going to be low. But if you were just driving around the city and you're about to jump on the highway, you may not actually get what that number says. First bit of your drive, you'll always notice it recalibrating. So we have about, again, 70% state of charge. Let me tell you how we actually get in, start it, and drive it. Let me show you how to adjust your mirrors because it's a little bit weird. Same with the windows actually. So come on in here, you'll notice this little dial, and what you need to do is just kind of twist it like a volume knob, and you'll actually notice these items here lighting up different colors. So this one over here means that it's actually heating the glass to melt snow or ice off the window. You shouldn't need to use that very much. And then you have your right adjustments. You can put it wherever you want, or your left adjustments. You can put it wherever you want. I like that you can just leave it in the middle, not selected. This is how you lock and unlock the car. This is your child lock for the rear. It's actually really easy just to brush this since it's capacitive. So you may want to check that instead of locking your rear passengers in. And this is the most confusing part of ID.4. You can roll up or down your windows, which, let me just kick the car on really quick. You can roll up or down your windows normally, just like with your front adjustments, or let me roll the front one up really quick. Or for the rear, you have to click this button, make sure it's orange, and then that same switch will roll up and down the rear windows. I mean, if I had to fault the ID.4 for one thing, this is probably the most annoying part of the car. And it is just something you need to get used to. But again, a little trick, come on in here. If you push and hold the rear for just a couple seconds, you'll see it starts to flash. That makes the driver's window control all four. So you can roll up or down all four windows at once if you just press and hold till the rear button flashes. You join me in the driver's seat now, and to start the car, it's actually really simple. You just touch the brake pedal and you'll see everything comes to life. This one has some error lights on it. Volkswagen software has been known to be a little bit buggy, and this is no exception. But we're in the car now and we're pretty much ready to go. And you can see, if you look at the right side of the screen here, we're currently in park, which is, you activate that by pushing here. There's no additional parking brake or anything like that. This actually activates the parking brake. Then if you want to go to neutral, you can just push to the point of resistance in either direction here from the shifter. And then if you want to go to reverse, you can go all the way back past the point of resistance. R will pop up, your reversing camera will pop up, and you'll notice the lines will actually turn based off of where you're going. To go forwards, you just rotate it forwards, makes sense, and then you can put it in drive. And drive is a great way to drive the car. It's very normal. It should feel just like a combustion car. A lot of electric cars have something called regen, which I'll explain to you in a little bit, and you can actually knock it forward again and put the car into B mode. It is totally fine and actually recommended by me to drive the car in B mode all the time because you get a little bit of this one pedal driving, a very EV driving feel. So that's how you start it and get it into gear. How about when you're done with the car and you just want to walk away? Well, when you put it in park, you come off the brake pedal, you'll see the whole car shut off for the most part. A little trick, if you're just running into a store and you want to leave the climate control on, you can just tick immediate climate control and it keeps the fans running while you're in your store. The battery is huge. It can do that for so long, it doesn't matter. And then to really shut it off, you just exit the car, get out, walk away and lock it. You don't have to actually hit any button. It's a really nice feature to be able just to get in, boom, throw it in drive, and start moving without touching anything. It's a wonderful system. But let's say for some reason that isn't working or you want to leave someone in the car, you'll see there's a little extra button here on the side. I can touch that and it forces the auxiliary power to stay on. So if you leave the dogs in the car when you run to get pizza, if you leave your significant other in the passenger seat, you can kick that on. The climate will stay on for them, that button right there. Again, the key just has to be somewhere in the vehicle. It's a wireless key for all of this to work. Pretty simple. Let's get into actually setting your climate control before we drive, because that's always an important one. So seatbelt on, and you'll notice that ID.4 will always come up, at least with the new software, with some sort of name here. You might be a guest, you might be in the owner's car, doesn't really matter. You can actually switch to a guest profile and it will automatically just kind of get you going to where you need to go. Once you're here, to adjust climate control, you can either just touch here on the left where it says 71, or you can click Climate. So I'm going to click that here. I always recommend keeping the vents on sync. That way you don't have one side trying to cool the car, the other side trying to heat the car. But if you need two different temperatures, you can, of course, separate them and you can set two different temperatures just like this. The way that I'm actually doing is I'm tapping left and right on this little black bar right here. You can also slide. So tap or slide. And, you know, you can set it to whatever you think is comfortable. I wouldn't worry too much about it, but 68 on auto, 70 degrees on auto, it's normal. That's what most people will have. You also have options for your heated seats right here in this menu. So you can go into climate and turn your heated seats on or off. There's some really cool things here. For example, if your hands are cold, you can click warm hands. It'll actually turn on the heated steering wheel, which is really comfortable. And it will blow warm air through these vents. Really nice in the smart climate menu. Personally, for me, it drives me nuts. I just want normal climate control, which we have here. You can set your fan speed to whatever you'd like just by dragging here. You can actually go into auto and say I'd like a medium fan speed in auto or a low fan speed in auto. Medium's fine. AC on's great for keeping the cabin demoisturized. You can have your heated steering wheel controls. Very simple stuff. That's pretty much all you really need to know. Is you get in, you hit Clima, get everything set the way you want it. There's a little trick if you're going to be living with this car for a while, is you can actually use a 2-finger tap right here on that temperature control, and you'll see it turns my heated seat on. I can also adjust the levels just by tapping over and over eventually until they're off. It also does work on the passenger side. You'll see it go right there. In terms of drive modes, again, I mentioned there's a few different ways to drive the car. When you click mode, these modes don't make too much of a difference in the ID.4. I actually recommend just keeping it in comfort mode all of the time. But if you are going to be on a long trip, you may choose to go into eco, extend your range just slightly. It doesn't actually make that big of a difference in this car. Or if you're going to tear up some back roads, you can go into sport. I think comfort's fine. If you're in snow or ice, you don't even need to use traction mode, but traction mode will just make it so it's very much a 50-50 power split front and rear, so it's easy to control. And I have a whole in-depth video on that on our sister channel, Out of Spec Reviews. So that's how to set it. Put it to comfort mode, set your climate control. We have pretty good battery status. Let's go then. You might notice this screen looks a little bit different in your car, the one that you're in, to this one here. There's actually ways to configure this. It's broken up into 3 different sections. So the left section is all about your driver assistance. The center is all about your current status, your power output, either charging the battery or discharging the battery. Again, every time you slow down, it will charge, your projected range, etc. And the right side's all the nerdy numbers about efficiency and consumption. If you don't want that and you just want to have your navigation prompts over here, you can use this slide button like this on the bottom. You just swipe your hand over here, sliding left or right. And when you're in the right side, you can just basically click in and you can cycle between navigation or your route guidance, which is very simple. Just like every car, you can just enter in your destination here. or if you use Apple CarPlay, which this car supports wirelessly, it will actually show your navigation prompts here using the native Apple Maps software, which is really nice. So now let's go drive it. To actually drive the car, it's kind of just like a gas car. The one on the right makes it move, the one on the left makes it stop. You may notice it feels a little bit different or more responsive than you're used to, and that's just the nature of an electric car, having really fast response time and, obviously very quick. You can see this thing moves if you want it to. It looks like our cameraman Max here needs to buckle up. And we're buckled. So going for a drive now. The car drives great. That is one of the nicest things about ID.4 is just how quiet, comfortable, well-built feeling this is. Cruising long distance in this vehicle is no problem at all. It has great driver assistance, which I'll show you on a quick drive on the highway. But overall, just a wonderful cruiser. Now, coming to a stop, you'll notice I've lifted off the accelerator pedal and we're just coasting. And as I hit the brake pedal, you'll see this green bar goes all the way to the edge. And once it hits the edge, and I keep pushing on the brake pedal, what's actually happening is the car is transitioning from charging the battery with regenerative braking to using the physical brakes, the service brakes, to slow down the car. So that is really nice. You'll also notice our blue bar doesn't go all the way to the right here. It's very common on all-wheel drive models because they output more power to only give you full power when you're fully charged, and then when you get around 80%, they start to back off. Or if the battery is frozen, you may not get full power, but honestly, nothing to worry about. Just drive the car normally, and you're not going to hurt anything if you drive it when it's cold or hot. The car will protect itself, and it's really no problem at all. So you'll see we're coasting down these big hills, and what I'd really like to do is actually have a little bit of back pressure, a little bit of regenerative braking. So I'm going to knock the switch forward into B mode. And you'll notice I'm not touching the brakes right now, but we have quite a bit of this green bar right here. And what's happening is the car's just slowing itself down. It's like downshifting in a combustion car. And this is a really cool experience in an electric car, is being able to modulate your speed to either increase or decrease just with the accelerator pedal, not having to touch the brake pedal. So as I obviously put my foot on the accelerator pedal, we will increase speed. As I lift off, we actually charge the battery a little bit and use regenerative braking to slow down. So a very comfortable feeling. It does take some new drivers a little bit to get used to this feeling, but once you have it down, it's like you just want more and more. So I would recommend you just drive the car in B mode all the time. But ultimately your efficiency shouldn't be that much different, because again, every time you slow down with the brake pedal, it'll give you regen first and then burn off the energy with the friction brakes there at the end. So that's just a quick tutorial on driving the car. There's not too much really here to talk about other than just steering the car and going. We'll get into long trips in a different video, how to actually plan your charging stops. I'll show you how to charge the ID.4 here in a little bit, but what do you say we jump on the highway for a couple exits? I'll show you the driver assistance, which is really good and standard equipment in America. Every ID.4 has a driver assistance system, which is adaptive cruise control, as well as actually lane centering, which is really kind of cool. So to show you this, I'm going to use this little view button and swipe to bring up the bigger menu of the driver assistance. It's really meant for highway use. And I can turn the system on or off by clicking this top right button. So I'm going to click it on. So boom, on, and then I'm going to set our speed right there at 45 miles an hour. If I actually want to slow down, I can just swipe down from the top here. You'll see now we're set at 40 miles an hour, or I can swipe down again, we're set at 35 miles an hour. If you just want to go up in small increments, you can just push the up or down button to actually set your speed, which is really cool. And what's interesting is this center button right here, just for the corner, I'm going to take it off of this system. This center button on the left, this is actually your distance control. So when you click this, what it does is it turns the plus and minus buttons into your distance control. So you'll see right here at the bottom, we're at the closest distance. But if I click the plus, it means the car in front, we're going to follow farther away, or I can reel them in and go full BMW driver mode. And then if I click the bottom right button, you'll see travel assist is selected. And if I set speed, the car is actually actively lane centering, which is really great for highway use. Now, we're on a back road, so it's not really meant to go around corners like this, but if you cruise for long distance down the highway, I highly recommend you use this travel assist system. It's wonderful, a really good system. If yours is actually a higher spec ID.4, I can click on travel assist right here. Boom, there we are, locked on. If you're a higher spec ID.4 on the highway, it can actually automatically make lane changes for you. All you have to do is click the turn signal to the point of resistance, and it will automatically make a lane change. The way to know that the car is actively steering versus not is if these lines are green. And you'll see it's actually doing a pretty good job around this corner here. You wouldn't expect it to, but it is. And so whenever they go gray, for example, if I take over, there we go. You'll see now they're gray. The car's not actively steering. So if you ever want to know if it's the car or you can just look to see if those lines are gray or green like they are right now. Another cool feature of this system is you can actually push it to one side of the lane or the other. For example, if I want to have a little bit more room on the right, I can force the car over and you'll see it's actively centering, but we're actually just driving on the yellow line. So we've pushed ourselves to the left side. Or I can recenter us back in, let it lock in. You'll feel it kind of lock in there, and now we're centering right in the center of the lane. You can also do the same to the right. So some systems, if you're passing a truck, get a little too close, and this one you can just push it away from the truck, which is really, really nice. Overall, wonderful driver assistance. Highly recommend you use it for highway cruising. And there you go. So when it comes time to charging your ID.4, if you really have no idea how to find chargers or activate chargers, we will have videos coming on this channel to explain all of that. As they go up, they'll be linked in the description. If you find this in the future, they're probably already posted. But the car has to be unlocked. You push on the back side of the charging port here to actually open it. And if you take a look inside, you'll see there's a circular port up here. This is for your slower charging. And then you'll see you can remove this little cover right here. This is going to be for the faster charging. Basically, these pins down here are the high power ones. These are the low power ones. Let's start with low power charging. It's what you're going to find at hotels, convenience stores. This right here is called a J1772 handle. I know that doesn't sound great, but level 2 charging more or less. You can just walk up, plug in the car, and then you would find a way to activate that particular charger at your provider, whether it's ChargePoint or whatever. We'll have different videos on that, and you'll see this one didn't actually need any activation. It's gone green, and it's actually just charging up the car as is. So very simple. To finish charging with ID.4 is actually a little bit annoying. What you need to do is you need to grab the key, and on the key you actually physically need to first hit unlock, even if the car is unlocked, and that will release the connector here. Then you can push down and pull out your connector. But if it's ever stuck to your car, I see a lot of ID.4 people wrangling with these things, just click unlock on the physical key, which is, again, annoying because it's supposed to be a proximity key. This is the big boy charger right here. You can see it's got those pins at the bottom. This is what's called DC charging. And if I open up this little pin right here, you can either let it sit or there's a little spot for it to hold somewhere in here. Don't actually even know. And what I'm gonna do is basically get myself a little bit more slack, and all you do is just plug it in like that, and then you would activate the high power charger, again, just like the AC charging. To remove it, again, you click unlock, you'll hear the latch go, and then sometimes they jam in there, but as long as you can get the latch, you can rip it out of the car. So that's really how to charge it more or less. To close it back up, make sure you throw the port back in. It does have one orientation it likes to go, which is this droopy side up. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the AC charger in. Once you charge the car, you're good to go. There's just one last thing I want to mention about charging with ID.4, and then we'll wrap up the video. Most ID.4s will actually be set to charge to a maximum of 80% every day, and that's 100% what I recommend. Really, that's not great for the car to full charge it. It's not great to leave it dead. You can drive it all the way down. You paid for the battery, use all of it, but make sure you charge it back up once it's drained. To get there, you click the menu button on the left side, you go to the charging option, and here you have just a very simple slider. You can set it from 50% all the way up to 100% on maximum charge. 80 is what's recommended. That's what we'll do here. But if you're about to leave on a trip, maybe 90% is what you want, or a full 100 if you want to get every last drop of juice out of it. In this case, I'm going to leave it at 80%. So there you go. I hope this helped you learn a little bit about how to drive or start, drive, and charge a Volkswagen ID.4. We'll have more videos on these on popular electric car models. We'll have plenty of videos talking about how to actually activate stations. And hope this was helpful to you. If you found yourself renting an ID.4 or just happened to borrow a friend's car, there you go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on another one soon. Bye-bye.